This is where he raped my sisters and me. It's where he held court with church authorities, the men who receive the revelation and guidance from Heavenly Father that makes them prophets. You know those men by name, and they still socialize with him. I'm talking about Gordon Bowen. I'm talking about the Punisher for the LDS Church of Satan. And I'm talking about so many nights spent at his house where our parents advertised my sisters and me as whores for other members of the group. In the previous 3 parts of this series, you heard about how my sister Katie walked into the Provo Police Department in January 2012 to report our father, David Lee Hamblin, for raping and torturing us for the first 13 years of her life. Now you're going to hear about one of their friends, a man who first met them in New York, when our father David was finishing his training to earn his doctorate as a clinical psychologist from the University of Arizona, training that took him to Westchester County, where our great-uncle Clyde Sullivan, another psychologist, lived in the late 60s. Our mother Rosie went to stay with him and her Aunt Nola midway through her senior year of high school. She graduated from Edgemont High School in Scarsdale instead of her high school in Provo. She came back to Provo, where she attended BYU for 8 years before earning her undergraduate degree. Gordon was there. We all attended the same ward in Scarsdale. Everyone did. There weren't many Latter-day Saints in the area, and so everyone attended the meeting house in Scarsdale, where my father David taught the seminary for high school students. We lived with other families in the group in a house at 77 Terrain in Portchester, which had been divided into apartments. That house was where my sister Katie remembers her earliest abuse because our father took her out of her crib and orally sodomized her. We knew Gordon as a very powerful man in the Church of Satan, an influential advertising executive who worked for Coca-Cola and American Express. Our parents would speak of how powerful Gordon was and how sexually attracted they were to him. They would bring us to his house, this house on Yale Avenue, and we would play our harps at his parties and be sold to his guests for sex. Our dad would promote his training techniques to other parents in the CS, training techniques designed to make children compliant with rape and torture so that they could grow up to be adults who would rape and torture their own children, so that the group would continue into the future. We were of royal bloodlines, secretly loyal to Lucifer in the premortal existence. We publicly pledged our loyalty to Jehovah so that we could come to earth and receive bodies. But our bloodlines worked within the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to undermine Jesus so that Lucifer could obtain his rightful inheritance as the heir to the throne of Heavenly Father. Gordon's home in Salt Lake was where many of the richest and most influential members of our group socialized and came together. I'm going to tell you about some of the things that happened there and some of the people who were there. I'm going to tell you what Gordon and others did to their own children at the parties that he threw at his home. Our family went up to a special party at Gordon's home. Rosie spent a long time getting herself and Katie, Rachel, and me ready. She told us there would be important people there of the royal line, and we needed to be on our best behavior and as befitted our station. When we got there, about 20 adults were milling around eating, and we heard lots of kids off in another part of the house. When Gordon began his training session, the children were brought in and seated in front of their parents. A boy, about 14, was pointed out, and Gordon made him strip naked. His body was bound, his eyes were covered, and he was made to kneel. A young girl was then chosen from the kids. She was scared and didn't want to leave her parents. But her mother, Carla Jimison, gave the girl's hand to Gordon, and he took her to the middle of the room. He let go of her hand and told her to take her clothes off. When she didn't move, Carla went over, slapped her face, and undressed her. The girl was made to get down on all fours and suck on the boy's penis. We could all see the boy's penis becoming erect. Gordon then took a tube of lubricant and put some on his finger and jammed his finger into her anus to lubricate it. The girl cried out and he hit her on the head and said something like, "Shut your whoring mouth." He positioned her on all fours, again turned the other way this time, and Gordon rubbed the boy's penis with this hand until the boy's penis was stiff again. Then he jammed the penis into the girl's anus. Gordon moved her back and forth, slowly at first, but then faster until he saw the boy's body shudder. Gordon laughed and pushed the girl over onto her side, where she curled up, shivering, and hid her face until the session was over. Gordon explained that this method was meant to teach the boy that this type of sex was preferable, that pain was actually pleasure, and to seek this type of feeling again. He went and undid the boy's ropes. He told his parents that he was to have full access to his siblings and mother at any time and should be allowed to experiment. If he showed any hesitation, it was the role of the paterfamilias to assist the boy until he got over any shyness. The paterfamilias should send the mother or siblings into him at night to sleep in his bed. Gordon then said that the boy was to teach his brother how to do it, using himself, their sisters, and their mother as victims. He told the parents that they should put a TV VCR in their sons' rooms and provide them with as many S&M type pornos as they could get their hands on. He told the boy that it was his part of his birthright to have domination over his siblings and mother, and that if accepted this right, he would be blessed by the Lord Lucifer. What would these walls say if they could speak of what they had seen all those years ago? Gordon no longer lives here. He sold his houses on Yale and Harvard and moved to Holiday. No one my sisters and I named has ever been tried and convicted. We never got a preliminary hearing to testify. The state of Utah has a 2.97% conviction rate for rape. It's number 1 in the country for sexual assault reports each year, but under 12% of accused rapists are prosecuted. Gordon Bowen's home on Yale Avenue was where my sisters and I and other children were raped and tortured by the man our parents called the Punisher. It's now owned by Westminster University.